What happened to the other guy?
He's in better shape than me.
I don't know.
My name is Ken Russell. I'm, excuse me, I'm a motor vehicle operator for the County of Bergen, Department of Human Services Division of Community Transportation. I also happen to be the president of Local 655. And I kind of wrote down what I wanted to speak to about a little bit tonight. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm here tonight in regard to the proposed closing of the Bergen County Juvenile Detention Center in Paramus prior to the opening of the new facility in Teterboro. Going back to approximately March of last year, through meetings with both the former and current administration, whenever the Juvenile Detention Center came up, or we specifically brought it up, we were assured that there would be a smooth transition from old to new, with no interruptions. However, during the week of April 11th, I received a phone call from local representatives Mark McCart and Jim Bush. I received phone calls from local representatives Mark McCart and Jim Bush, both telling me that the administration wanted to sit down with us and to discuss, I quote Ralph Kornfeld, prospective closing of the JDC. The administration scheduled the meeting for Thursday, April 21st at 2:15, the day before Easter weekend, when it was held. At that meeting, we were handed a list of the 22 employees who work at the facility. During the conversation at the meeting, it was explained to us that some of these people could be placed elsewhere, but most would be laid off and that they had no bumping rights. Ralph Kornfeld said that he would be sending a letter to civil service on Monday, April 25th, and could possibly get a response within 10 days, which would be approximately May 5th or May 6th. And that the projected date for the closing of the Paramus Center would be June 17th. I was surprised by this information, and so were the affected employees. When asked why the change to a disconnect closing rather than a smooth transition discussed in the past, County Counsel Jeff Siegelman said that they were looking at things through different eyes but offered no details. As you might gather, we still have many questions that we would like answered. On Tuesday, April 26, Mr. Kornfeld was given a list of questions put together by the employees and union reps. 5 of these 12 questions were not answered. Instead, we were informed that they were not relevant to layoffs, despite the fact that they involved predicted staffing levels, possible duties for current JDOs, unemployment and benefit information, etc. I have these questions with me. I'd like to give you it when I'm done speaking.
Please.
I have the list, and questions 7 through 11 were not answered. Thank you. Let's see where I am. Excuse me for a second. There was an article in the Record on April 27th about the JDC closing. In that article, a county representative stated that the closing would save $250,000. He further stated that the county would provide shuttle services for parents visiting their children in Linden while the Teterboro facility was being constructed. This was never mentioned to us in our April 21st meeting, and this is another reason why we would like to sit down and discuss several things. Some of the questions we have at this point: who covers the cost of the shuttle service? Will the old facility be used as a staging area? Or will municipal police office be expected to take these youngsters directly to Union County? These questions I ask as both a taxpayer and a county employee. Will the added expenses of shuttle service, transportation, juveniles, and so forth offset the projected county savings, or will these costs be shifted to municipalities? We would appreciate access to information about the cost of this arrangement with Union County. We're concerned that there might be hidden and unexpected expenses that could make this a very costly decision. By having a sit down with the administration and going over the numbers, we believe that we could reach an amicable agreement that would benefit all involved, most especially our Bergen juveniles. Having been a dedicated employee myself for over 20 years, I can only imagine how my colleagues must feel at this time. The 16 juvenile detention officers working in Paramus have a median tenure with the county of about 9 years. I think that any decision to close the facility as proposed would create a strain on and possible hardship for them and their families. Of course, I realize economic factors are important, which is why we want to sit down and resolve this situation. I would respectfully request that you consider any proposal to close the current JDC before the new one opens in the interest of all parties concerned. I think that delaying and closing would be the best course and I would appreciate your availability to sit down and discuss this further, as there seems to be no need to rush this. I know there's a time on this that you've got down with dates, but I don't think that's engraved in stone. I would really appreciate a sit-down to have a lot of questions answered. We ourselves have gone over some of the numbers, and I think a sit-down would be very productive when the smoke clears. One of the questions that was on here was, that they had was, will employees be rehired at the same rate as they were laid off? Mr. Kornfeld's answer was, employees who return to the same employer and or job will not necessarily receive the same rate of pay when they return and if they return. Which, you know, these are dedicated employees, and if we know there's an economy strain, and we agreed that possibly going forward, things might have to change, we might have to sit down, but with the current people working, it seems quite unfair to do something like that to these people. I have what is a guideline to assist counties, and it's a New Jersey Juvenile Justice Commission. First paragraph says, this policy establishes standards and procedures to be followed by both the Commission and by county juvenile detention facilities in connection with proposals to significantly change detention facilities utilization. And I just want to read a little bit here. A written implementation proposals submitted by all relevant facilities and authorities and approved by the Commission are required prior to any shared or additional use of facility, any closure of facility or portion thereof, and any transfer of juveniles except for routine transfers for operational purposes. Now, it's to my understanding that this would have to be filled out by the county prior to taking any further action with the Juvenile Detention Center, and if they have, we would appreciate if we could have access so we could go over what was filled out and what was put in there. And I'm sure by getting access to that, we would have more questions, and I'm sure that we could probably sit down and come to some sort of agreement on this. I want to thank you for your time. I look forward to working together and to continue to provide the excellent service that Bergen County taxpayers have come to expect from their county government. And with that, I wish you a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you also give us, could you get us a copy of, I had a hard time talking tonight. Get a copy of those questions that you said you had? We could run a couple copies before you leave and give you back the original?
Yes,
so
I will.
Just give it to the clerk. I'll have one of the aides run and make copies for you.
I have the questions and answers, and I'll just get them and I'll bring them up.